Good morning, children. Welcome to chemistry class. In the previous class, we discussed the J.J. Thomson's atomic model. According to J.J. Thomson, the positively charged particles, which also give mass to the atom, are uniformly distributed throughout the spherical atom, and electrons are embedded at certain places in the positively charged mass. The electrons have negligible mass, and the mass of the atom is due to the presence of protons only. Electrons are embedded at certain places, just like the seeds are embedded in the watermelon in the red colored fibrous mass. So this model is known as watermelon's model, and we already discussed that the scientists which are contemporary to J.J. Thomson could not accept the J.J. Thomson's atomic model, as this model could not explain how the electrons are shielded from protons. The stability of the atom could not be explained by J.J. Thomson. In order to check the validity of the J.J. Thomson's atomic model, Ernest Rutherford, a New Zealand born English scientist, conducted an experiment with alpha particles. You know that alpha particles are obtained from radioactivity, that is, radioactive substances which possess 2 units of positive charge and 4 units of mass. Alpha particles possess 2 units of positive charge and 4 units mass. These are one of the kinds of particles obtained from radioactive substances. He used these alpha particles, and the alpha particles are made to hit the gold foil. Why did he take gold? Gold is highly malleable in nature. He has taken a gold foil of thickness 0.0006 centimeters. A thin gold foil is used in this experiment. Even this much of small thickness, it contains the atoms of around 1000 to 10,000 layers. 1000 to 10,000 layers, one after the above, like this. Okay. So very thin gold foil is used. Gold is a heavy element. Alpha particles are the massive particles and possess 2 units of charge. According to Thomson, if the mass and positive charge are uniformly distributed throughout the atom, he expected that the alpha particles penetrate through the atoms without any deviation from their paths. But in this experiment, he observed that most of the alpha particles are penetrated through the gold foil without deviations or with small amounts of deflections or deviations from their path. A very small number of alpha particles are suffered small deviations from their path, and 1 out of 10,000 alpha particles suffered deviations or deflections more than 90 degrees from their path, and approximately one around every 20,000 alpha particles deflected through an angle of 180 degrees, that is, they were bounced back. In order to observe the alpha particles penetrating or deflected through the gold foil, he arranged a circular zinc sulfide screen. Zinc sulfide is a fluorescent material. When these energetic particles hit this fluorescent material, they emit flashes, which are known as scintillations. These flashes can be observed with the help of a microscope. A microscope is arranged, a mobile microscope is arranged to observe these flashes. And he observed these flashes. These are the observations of Rutherford's alpha ray scattering experiment. What did he suppose to get? If J.J. Thomson's atomic model is true, most of the alpha particles should not deviate from their path. Almost all the alpha particles should penetrate through the gold foil without any deviation. The reason is, if mass and charge are concentrated throughout the atom, the charge density is less. The charge density, that is the density of charge, that is charge on unit volume is less. Because of that, alpha particles will not be affected. The electrons are negatively charged particles. The mass of electrons is negligible. So effect of electrons is also negligible on the alpha particles. So all the alpha particles should penetrate through the gold foil without deflections. If J.J. Thomson's atomic model is exactly true. But what are the observations of Rutherford? Rutherford observed that most of the alpha particles are penetrated. A good number of alpha particles are deviated from their paths with little deviations, and a considerable number of alpha particles are suffered certain deviations, and 1 out of 10,000 approximately and 1 out of 20,000 approximately suffered angles more than 90 degrees and bounced back in this experiment. These are the observations. In order to explain these observations, he concluded that 1. As most of the alpha particles are penetrated without deviations, atom is largely empty. That is, there is a large amount of empty space within the atom. Large amount of empty space is present within the atom. Because of that, most of the alpha particles are penetrated without deviations. Why do some alpha particles deflected? Some of the alpha particles are suffered through certain deflections, certain angles of deflection. This is due to the repulsion of these alpha particles with the positive charge present in the atom. Okay. It happens only when the positive charge is concentrated in a small region. The deflections are possible. The deflections of alpha particles will be possible only when the charge is concentrated in a small region in the atom. That means the positively charged particles occupy only a small region in the atom. The rest of the atom is empty. The small deflections are due to the concentration of the charge in the charge of the atom in a small region. That is, charge is concentrated in a small region in the atom. Charge is concentrated in a small region in the atom. As some of the alpha particles are bounced back, this is showing that the mass is also concentrated in that region. And he named this region as nucleus. He named this region as nucleus. Suppose this is the atom, spherical in shape. Nucleus is the small region in which positive charge and mass are concentrated. The alpha particles which come away from the nucleus are passed through the atom without any deviations. These are all the alpha particles which are passing away from the nucleus. They are passing without any deviations. And the alpha particles which come closer to the nucleus are suffered a deflection, a repulsion, and they got deviated from their path. If they are closer to the nucleus, the angle of deflection is still high. If they are closer to the nucleus, if the angle of deflection is still high, like this. Okay. The alpha particles which come exactly opposite to the nucleus were bounced back. Yes, in this way, he explained the results or observations of his experiment by choosing a small region of positive charge at the center of the atom, and he named this region as nucleus. From the number of particles, alpha particles deflected, from the number of alpha particles deflected or the percentage of alpha particles deflected, he calculated the sizes of the atom and the nucleus also. The atom is of the size 10 to the power of minus 8 centimeters or 1 angstrom unit, and the nucleus is of size 10 to the power of minus 13 centimeters or 1 Fermi. 10 to the power of minus 13 centimeters is 1 Fermi. The nucleus is of the size Fermi and atom is of the size angstrom units. Fermi is very small compared to the atom. The ratio of the radii of atom and nucleus is, ratio of the radii of atom and the nucleus is 10 to the power of minus 8 by 10 to the power of minus 13, that is approximately 10 to the power of 5. From this, the ratio of the volumes are also calculated. Volume of atom by volume of nucleus is equal to, volume of atom by volume of nucleus is equal to 4/3 pi r cube by 4/3 pi r cube. Pi is small r cube, where capital R is the radius of the atom and small r is the radius of the nucleus. 4/3 pi and 4/3 pi will be cancelled. This is r by r whole cube. R by r is equal to 10 to the power of 5. 10 to the power of 5 whole cube, that is 10 to the power of 15. That is, size of the nucleus is 1 by 10 to the power of 15th of the size of the atom. If the atom is divided into 10 to the power of 15 parts, that is 10 to the power of 15 means 1000 million parts. If the atom is divided into 1000 million parts, one part is occupied by the nucleus and the rest of the atom is empty. The alpha particles which pass through this empty space penetrate without any deviations. The alpha particles come closer to the nucleus, suffered deflections depending on the distance between the nucleus and the alpha particles. And the alpha particles which come exactly opposite to the nucleus will be bounced back. These are the explanations of the results by Rutherford. So from these observations, he concluded that atom is largely empty and most of the mass of the atom and charge of the atom is concentrated in a small region in the atom known as nucleus. And he suggested one atomic model known as Rutherford's atomic model. The atomic model suggested by Rutherford is known as Rutherford's atomic model. This model is based on his alpha ray scattering experiment. This Rutherford's atomic model is based on the alpha ray scattering results of the or observations of the alpha ray scattering experiment. One of the postulates is atom is largely empty. Its mass and positive charge are concentrated in a small region in the middle of the atom, called nucleus. He named this region as nucleus. The small region which possesses the mass and positive charge is named as nucleus. The size of the nucleus is about 10 to the power of minus 13 centimeters, and size of atom is about 10 to the power of minus 8 centimeters. The electrons revolve around the nucleus. The electrons revolve around the nucleus just like the planets revolve around the sun. Planets revolve around the sun. When these electrons revolve around the nucleus, centrifugal force is developed. The centrifugal force developed during the revolution counterbalances the electrostatic force of attraction between the nucleus and electron. When the electron revolves around the nucleus, centrifugal force is developed. That centrifugal force counterbalances the electrostatic force of attraction between the nucleus and electron. That is, the attraction, electrostatic force of attraction works towards the nucleus, whereas centrifugal force works outside the nucleus, like this. If electron revolves around the nucleus in this circular path, the electrostatic force of attraction works in this direction and centrifugal force works in the direction opposite to that of electrostatic force. Centrifugal force working outside, this is electrostatic force. Working inside, both are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. These are vector quantities, equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. As a result, one nullifies the other. As a result, electrons continuously revolve around the nucleus. electrons will not fall into the nucleus. Okay? These are the postulates of Rutherford's atomic model. This is the first atomic model containing the nucleus. So this is also known as the nuclear model. In this model, this atom is compared with the solar system, that is, the electrons revolve around the nucleus just like the planets revolve around the sun. Because of that, this model is also known as the planetary model. Okay. The stability of atom, that is stability of electrons, how the electrons are shielded from the nucleus is explained by Rutherford, and the results of this alpha ray scattering experiment were also explained by this nuclear model. Though it explains the experimental results, the Rutherford's atomic model could not explain certain facts. According to the classical laws of physics, any charged particle which is moving under the influence of its opposite charge should lose energy continuously. Electron is also a charged particle. It is also moving under the influence of its opposite charge, that is positive charge of the nucleus. So in the case of electron also, energy is to be lost. The revolving electron should lose energy continuously. If electron loses energy, its momentum should be decreased. If momentum decreases, its velocity should be decreased. Its centrifugal force is to be decreased. As a result, the electrostatic force of attraction overweighs the centrifugal force. As a result, electron should take the spiral path, comes closer and closer to the nucleus, and finally should fall into the nucleus. That means atom should be collapsed. If electron falls into the nucleus, atom should be collapsed. But the atoms are not being collapsed, they are stable. And this stability could not be explained by Rutherford's atomic model. This is one of the drawbacks of Rutherford's atomic model. Another drawback is, if electron loses energy continuously, the emitted energy should appear in the form of radiation having all the frequencies. If radiations of all the frequencies are emitted from the atom, emitted from the electron, then the frequencies should appear in the visible region in the form of a rainbow, in which all the colors from violet to red, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. These are the 7 colors of the rainbow, in which all the colors mingle with each other and there are no separating lines between one color. One color gradually fades off and changes to the other color. This is a continuous spectrum. The radiations, if captured on a photographic film on a screen, a continuous spectrum like rainbow which contains all the colors in the visible region should appear. But when the radiations coming from the electrons are captured on a photographic film, it is observed that only some lines are formed instead of continuous spectrum. Instead of bands, continuous bands, only some lines are observed. This line spectrum could not be explained by Rutherford's atomic model. These are the drawbacks of Rutherford's atomic model.
Ernest Rutherford bombarded fast-moving alpha particles on a thin gold foil. He observed the reflection of the alpha particles with the help of a screen. Now, according to Thomson's atomic model, an atom consists of a positively charged sphere with electrons embedded in it. So, Rutherford expected that almost all the alpha particles will pass straight and only small deflections will be observed if there would be any. However, Rutherford got totally contrasting results. From his experiment, he made the following observations. First, most of the fast-moving alpha particles passed straight through the gold foil. Second, Some alpha particles were deflected through the foil by small angles. And the third point, some alpha particles were deflected by large angles. In rare cases, an alpha particle got deflected by an angle of 180 degrees. Based on his observations, Rutherford derived the following conclusions from his gold foil experiment. First, since most alpha particles pass through the gold foil without any deflection, most of the space inside an atom is empty. Second, very few particles suffered a deflection from their path. Now this means that positive charge occupies very little space inside an atom. Third and final point, as a small fraction of particles got deflected completely by 180 degree, all positive charge and mass of gold atoms are present within a very small volume inside the atom.
In the year 1913, Henry Moseley, an English scientist, studied that atomic number is the fundamental property of the element. He bombarded the atoms of various elements with cathode rays, and he observed that the frequencies of these X-rays are characteristic to the element. These X-rays are said to be the characteristic X-rays. When are the X-rays produced? When the elements are bombarded with cathode rays, X-rays are produced, and these X-rays possess various frequencies depending on the nature of the element. He observed that there is a relationship between the frequencies and positive charge of the nucleus. There is a relationship between the frequencies of these X-rays and positive charge. When the square root of this frequency is taken on y-axis, square root of the frequency of X-rays is taken on y-axis, and Z is taken on x-axis, and if a graph is drawn, he observed that all the points showing are falling on a straight line. He got a straight line when the atomic numbers, that is the amount of positive charge is taken on x-axis and square root of the frequency is taken on y-axis. And these new values are related with Z with the formula square root of nu is equal to A into Z minus B. Square root of nu is related with Z by the formula square root of nu is equal to A into Z minus B, where nu is the frequency of X-rays produced. Frequency of X-rays produced, Z is the positive charge of nucleus. Positive charge of nucleus, that is atomic number, that is number of protons. Atomic number or number of protons. And A is the proportionality constant. A is a proportionality constant. And B is another constant known as series constant. B is also a constant known as series constant. For all the elements, the A and B values are same. Then Q is related to Z, nu is related to Z with the formula square root of nu is equal to A into Z minus B. From this it was found that the Z is the characteristic property of the element. That is, the properties of the element depend upon the value of Z. And he named this as atomic number. This shows the number of protons present in the atom or the number of electrons present in the neutral atom. The number of electrons present in the neutral atom is same as the number of protons present in the atom. The reason is atom is electrically neutral. Okay. Next, the belief that nucleus is made up of protons was continued till 1920. Till the year 1920, it is believed that electrons and protons are the fundamental particles of atom. But in the year 1920, Rutherford observed that the masses of most of the elements, the masses of atoms of most of the elements are not exactly equal to the masses of the protons present in their nuclei. Except in the case of hydrogen, he observed this. In the case of hydrogen, there is one proton. In the case of hydrogen, one proton. Atomic mass is also, atomic mass is equal to 1. It is true in the case of hydrogen. For example, in the case of helium, there are two protons in the helium. Each proton possesses 1 unit of positive charge and 1 unit of mass. So, mass of helium atom should be 2 units. Mass of helium atom should be 2 units. That is 2 into 1.66 into 10 to the power of minus 24 grams. But he found that the mass of helium atom is 4 units. Mass of helium atom is 4 units. That is, the mass of the atom is not becoming equal to the sum of the masses of the protons present in the atom. So from this, he predicted that there exists some more fundamental particle which possesses mass in the nucleus. And as the electrons and protons are equal, atom is electrically neutral, and those new particles should not possess any charge. That means those particles should be neutral particles. So from this he predicted that there should be one more kind of particles which have zero charge and 1 unit of mass in the atom, and he named these particles as neutrons. In the experiments conducted by Chadwick in the year 1932, the experimental evidence of neutrons was obtained, that is 12 years after the prediction of the existence of particles, the neutrons were formed. Chadwick bombarded the light elements like beryllium and boron. The lighter elements like beryllium and boron were bombarded by high-speed alpha particles. When these elements were bombarded by high-speed alpha particles, he observed the formation of new kind of particles. He observed the formation of new kind of particles. Neutral particles which are neutral in nature and possess the mass which is approximately equal to the mass of proton. These particles are nothing but the neutrons predicted by Rutherford. Beryllium 4, this is a nuclear reaction. Beryllium 4-9 plus He24 gives rise to carbon 612 plus N01. N01, neutron is possessing zero charge and 1 unit of mass. The subscript represents the charge and superscript represents the mass in these species. This is the representation of the particles or subatomic particles in chemistry. Here the charge of beryllium is 4 units, nuclear charge of beryllium is 4 units, that is atomic number of beryllium is 4, atomic mass of beryllium is 9. Amount of charge of alpha particle is 2 units and mass of alpha particle is 4 units. Later on it was found that it is nothing but the nucleus of helium. So alpha particle is represented as He24. Here in writing the nuclear reactions we need to balance the subscripts and superscripts also. That is charges and masses are also to be balanced. Here 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 plus 0 is also 6, 9 plus 4, 13, 13 units of mass, 12 plus 1 is also 13. So the element formed will be carbon. Beryllium is converted into carbon when it is hit with the high speed alpha particles. In the same way, boron 511 when bombarded with high speed alpha particles gives carbon, nitrogen 714 plus neutron. Plus neutron. 5 plus 2, 7, 7 plus 0, 7. The element with atomic number 7 is nitrogen. So nitrogen is formed from boron. The element boron is changing to nitrogen. This is not possible in chemical reactions. This is possible only in nuclear reactions. In this, the nucleus of the atom is changing. The boron atom is converting into nitrogen atom, beryllium atom is getting converted to carbon atom. Here 14 plus 4, 15, 14 plus 1, 15. 5 plus 2, 7, 7 plus 0, 7. In this way, in the nuclear reactions, equations, the charges and the masses are also to be balanced. Because of the neutral nature of these particles, it took a long time to discover it after its prediction. 12 years time is taken for the identification of these particles even after the prediction of these particles in the year 1920 by Rutherford. Okay, this is the discovery of neutrons. After the discovery of neutrons, it is believed that the neutrons and protons are present in the nucleus of an atom and electrons revolve around the nucleus.
It is remarkable that the neutron was not discovered until 1932. Scientists observed that all mass of an atom cannot be accounted on the basis of just electrons and protons when James Chadwick used scattering data to calculate the mass of this neutral particle. For example, the atomic number of helium is 2 and the atomic number of hydrogen is 1. So, the atomic mass of helium should be double of the hydrogen atom. However, on calculation, the mass of helium atom was found to be 4 times more than that of hydrogen. It was the big reason for the discovery of the neutron. In 1930, Bothe and Becker bombarded a piece of beryllium with alpha particles from a radioactive source, produced neutral radiation which was penetrating, but non-ionizing. They observed a penetrating radiation emerging from the beryllium that they thought to be gamma rays. When a piece of paraffin wax was placed in the path of the beam, however, the reading on the detector actually increased. It was realized that the increase in reading was due to the emission of protons from the wax, and they tried to work out how this could be happening. If the proton emission had been due to bombardment of the wax by gamma radiation, the gamma rays would have to energy of around 16 MeV, very large for such a reaction. In the year 1932, James Chadwick conducted the same experiment, but he used different bombardment targets other than paraffin. After research and analysis of the various targets, he discovered the presence of a new particle. This new particle has a mass similar to that of the proton, but no charge. He named these particles neutrons. Furthermore, he derived the nearly accurate mass of this new particle by applying the conservation of energy and momentum. He measured the mass of a neutron to be nearly the same as that of a proton. Mn equals 1.00866 U equals 1.6749 by 10 to 27 kilogram.
Characteristic properties of neutrons. As we discussed that neutrons are neutral particles. Neutral particles, that is, charge is 0. You know that electrons are negatively charged particles and protons are positively charged particles, and both of them have 1.602 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs of charge. But neutrons do not possess any charge. These are neutral particles. The mass of these particles is almost similar to the mass of the proton. Mass of neutrons is 1.6750 into 10 to the power of minus 24 grams is the 1.6750 is into 10 to the power of minus 24 grams is the actual mass of neutron, whereas the actual mass of proton is 1.6725 into 10 to the power of minus 24 grams. The relative mass is 1.0083 atomic mass units. The relative mass of proton is 1.0073 atomic mass units for proton and 1.0087 atomic mass units for neutron. This is approximately equal to 1 atomic mass unit. Approximately equal to 1 atomic mass unit. This is also approximately equal to 1 atomic mass unit. That is, we consider that mass of neutron is approximately equal to mass of proton, which are approximately 1 by 1837 or 1 by 1840th of the mass of one atom of hydrogen. Next, mass number. We discussed the atomic number. Atomic number is the number of protons present in the nucleus of an atom or the number of electrons present in a neutral atom. Next one is mass number. Mass number is represented by A. Mass number A is equal to number of protons plus number of neutrons. Number of protons plus number of neutrons is known as mass number. That is, A is equal to Z plus N. A is equal to Z plus N. Or number of neutrons is equal to A minus Z. Number of neutrons is equal to A minus Z. Okay. By using this N and Z, the atomic species are represented like this. Suppose the symbol of the species is X, the Z is written as a subscript and A is written as a superscript like this. On X, Z, A. Superscripts on the right side. Both are right. Here A represents the mass number and Z represents the atomic number. The mass numbers are always integers. The mass numbers are always integers. This mass number is different from atomic mass. Atomic mass of chlorine is 35.5. Whereas whereas the mass number of chlorine is either 35 or 37. There are two mass numbers. There are two kinds of chlorine atoms which have different mass numbers 35 and 37. Whereas atomic mass of chlorine is 35.5. Atomic masses need not be integers, whereas mass numbers are always integers. Mass numbers are always integers. Atomic mass of hydrogen is 1.0008 atomic mass units, whereas mass number of hydrogen is one only. The mass number can be used in finding the size of the atom. Mass number can be found by using the size of the atom by using the formula A is equal to A0 into R to the power of 1/3. A is equal to A0 into R to the power of 1/3. By using this formula, we can find the radius of the atom. From mass number, we can find the radius of atom. This is only an empirical relation. In this empirical relation, A is the mass of the atom and A0 is a constant whose value is equal to 1.333 into 10 to the power of minus 13 Fermi. 1.33 into 10 to the power of minus 13 Fermi, and R is the radius of the atom. If A0 and A are substituted in the atom, the R value can be calculated, that is the radius of the atom can be calculated by using this relation. Okay. Next, isotopes. Isotopes are the atoms of the same element possessing different number of neutrons. Scientists found that most of the elements exist in the form of isotopes. Most of the isotopes of normal elements are radioactive in nature. Hydrogen exists in three forms: H11, H12 and H13. These are the three different isotopes of hydrogen. In the nature, 99.999% of hydrogen exists in the form of H11, which is known as protium. Only 0.001%, less than 0.001% exists in the form of H12 in normal hydrogen. Less than 0.00001% exists in the form of H13. This is known as the deuterium or heavy hydrogen. Deuterium or heavy hydrogen. This is called tritium. By considering these abundances, if we calculate the average atomic mass, the average atomic mass of hydrogen will be 1.0008. The fractional atomic masses are due to the existence of elements in the form of isotopes. If there are no isotopes for hydrogen, the atomic mass of hydrogen would be exactly 1.00. The atomic mass of hydrogen would be exactly 1.000000 if hydrogen doesn't exist in the form of isotopes. All these have the same number of protons. Number of protons is equal to 1. Here also number of protons is 1. Number of protons is equal to 1. That is, Z is equal to 1 for all these isotopes. As protons is 1, electrons is also, number of electrons is also 1. Number of electrons is equal to 1. As the number of protons is same as the number of electrons in the neutral atom. Number of neutrons in normal hydrogen protium is 0. In deuterium number of neutrons is 1 and tritium number of neutrons is 2. Because of the presence of some neutrons, these possess a mass more than 1 unit. This kind of atoms of the same element possessing same atomic number but different mass numbers are said to be the isotopes. As these are the atoms of the same element, their symbols are also same. The symbols are also same. Isotopes contain the same number of protons and same number of electrons, but they differ in the number of neutrons only. Due to the mass, due to the more mass, different isotopes may have different physical properties. Or the compounds formed from different isotopes may have different physical properties. But the chemical properties depend on the number of electrons around the nucleus or number of protons present in the nucleus, that is atomic number. As the atomic numbers are same, all the isotopes behave chemically in the same manner. That means protium, deuterium and tritium behave chemically in the same manner. They differ only in the physical properties due to more masses. Their densities are more. The density of deuterium is more than the density of protium, that is normal hydrogen. Because of this heaviness, the reactivity also sometimes will be affected. Reactivity will be affected sometimes. For example, normal hydrogen is more reactive than deuterium. But they behave chemically in the same manner, but there may be a small variation in the reactivity. Okay. Next, isobars. Isobars are the atoms of different elements possessing the same mass number. Atoms of different elements possessing the same mass number. For example, argon 1840 and calcium 2040. Argon 1840 and calcium 2040. Their atomic numbers are different, their mass numbers are same. Such kind of species are said to be isobars. Number of protons in argon is 18, number of protons in calcium is 20. Number of electrons is also 18, number of electrons is 18. Number of neutrons is equal to A minus Z, that is equal to how much? 40 minus 18, that is 22. Here number of neutrons is 40 minus 20, that is 20. So they have different number of neutrons and different mass numbers and a different number of protons also, but protons and neutrons are together same. The number of protons and neutrons, the protons and neutrons together called as nucleons. Nucleons is equal to protons plus neutrons. What are nucleons? Protons and neutrons. That is, the particles which are present in the nucleus are said to be the nucleons. The number of nucleons is same in isobars. As these have different atomic numbers, these elements are belonging to these different, the atoms are belonging to different elements. As they belong to different elements, they possess different chemical properties as well as physical properties. Okay. Next is isotones. Isotones are the species or particles which possess the same number of neutrons. Same number of neutrons. These are also the particles of different elements but possess the same number of neutrons. For example, sodium 1123 and magnesium 1224. Sodium 1123 and magnesium 1224. How many protons are there? 11. Here number of protons is 12. Number of electrons is 11. Number of electrons is 12. Number of neutrons is A minus Z, that is 23 minus 11, that is 12. Here number of neutrons is 24 minus 12, that is also 12. Number of neutrons are same. This kind of species are said to be the isotones. Aluminium 1327, aluminium 1327 and silicon 1428. Aluminium 1327 and silicon 1428. What is the number of neutrons here? Number of neutrons is equal to 14. Here also number of neutrons is equal to 14. So these two are the isotones. So isotones are the atoms of the different elements having the same number of neutrons. As these are the atoms of different elements, these possess different physical and chemical properties. Non-fundamental particles of atom. The fundamental particles of atom are electron, proton and neutron. Beside these electron, proton and neutron, the atoms emit some more particles also during nuclear reactions. These particles which are highly unstable and are emitted during the nuclear reactions are said to be the non-fundamental subatomic particles. These particles are, one is the positron. Positron. This is just like electron. Opposite electron. The particle which possesses the same mass as that of electron. What is the mass of electron? What is the mass of electron? 9.109 into 10 to the power of minus 8 grams. Positron also possesses the same mass. 9.109 into 10 to the power of minus 28 grams. And electron possesses 1 unit of negative charge. Minus 1 charge. And this possesses 1 unit of positive charge. The particle possessing the same amount of positive charge as that of electron and possessing the same amount of mass is known as positron. It is believed that the positrons are the particles like electrons in antimatter. In our galaxy, the materials exist with matter. It is believed that antimatter is existed in some other galaxies. In that antimatter, the nucleus is negatively charged. Around the nucleus, positrons may revolve around just like the electrons revolve in the nucleus of matter. So remember that the positron it was discovered by Anderson in the year 1932. The positron was discovered by Anderson in the year 1932, and it possesses 1 unit of positive charge and the mass exactly equal to the mass of electron. Next one is the neutrino and antineutrino. Neutrinos and antineutrinos. These particles are the subatomic particles which are emitted in the nuclear reactions and which possesses approximately zero mass and zero charge. That is negligible mass and negligible charge. The particles which are emitted in nuclear reactions which have negligible mass and negligible charge. Then why is it named as neutrino and anti-neutrino? Negligible positive charge and negative charge. One particle may possess negligible positive charge and the opposite particle possesses negligible negative charge. Okay. Next, antiproton. Antiproton. The particle exactly similar to electron is positron, and the particle exactly similar to proton is antiproton. Antiproton is exactly opposite to proton. That is, proton possesses 1 unit positive charge. This possesses 1 unit negative charge. 1 unit negative charge, minus 1 charge. This has plus 1 charge. And mass is same. Mass of proton is exactly same as mass of antiproton. This kind of particle is said to be antiproton. Another kind of particle, this antiproton was discovered by Chamberlain and Sagre. And mesons were discovered by Yukawa. Yukawa, a Japanese scientist, discovered this mesons. There are 3 types of mesons. Depending on the charge, there are 3 types of mesons. One is positive mesons, second one is negative mesons, and third one is neutral mesons. Positive mesons, negative mesons, and neutral mesons. These are represented by pi positive, pi negative, and pi 0. Positive mesons are also known as pions. Positive mesons are also known as pions. Negative mesons possess a negative charge, and neutral mesons do not possess any charge. All these mesons are around 200 times heavier than electrons. (200 times heavier than electrons approximately. These are the properties of mesons. All these subatomic particles, the positrons, the neutrinos and antineutrinos, antiprotons and mesons do not exist in atom, but they are released from the atoms during nuclear transmutations. Okay, let us continue this.